Hello there, and welcome back to War Thunder. Today, for your pleasure, I'm playing several German aircraft in Enduring Confrontation AIR RB Smolensk. And the first two scenes are some 3 versus 1 scenarios, and then at the end also a very nice duel versus another player. And I thoroughly enjoyed this, and Enduring Confrontation I'm really biased towards, and that has some tradition. In fact, on the 14th of May 2016 I released practically the first Duck Talks, which was called EC RB, aka the game mode that should be. And I am really a fan of this game mode because it just reassembles kind of the building blocks of War Thunder just in a new fresh version, if you will. So it's still the same game, obviously. There are still some rules that are very much the same, but at the end of the day it just is different, and this was always the charm of it. So Enduring Confrontation, what has come of it in those 4 years? Well, to be honest, Gaijin actually changed certain things, but at the end of the day it was not what I wanted to see, what I expected to see, what I thought would be the full potential of the game mode. But, that's my personal rating, that's my personal feel. But we also had attempts with 32 versus 32s. Sadly, Gaijin screwed that up a little bit, and so at the end of the day, well, that was like, in this scenario, just a handful of players and the rest filled with bots. In fact, we'll see just shortly after this 3 versus 1 a screenshot of, the team composition. And while formally this is a 3 versus 1, it's not really 3 players versus 1 player, let's be honest here. But it feels good. And also the plane is quite nice. It's been a while since I played this plane, the Focke-Wulf 190 A5U12. That's the first plane that I'm playing. Then the Bf 109 F4, and then in that 1 versus 1 duel, the Focke-Wulf 190 A4, where I had a significant disadvantage from the start. So those German aircraft, well, it was kind of reflected in the queue because the majority of players wanted to play German aircraft because they are cool and, they're the bad boys. And to be honest, the Soviet lineup didn't really look all that tempting, with the exception of a bomber here and there. So now I just go for it, and this player's behavior is kind of odd. To make it short, this is a bot, it feels like. And while I get some critical hits in there, it's not really all that great. Now, it is a little bit of a scene compilation because there was, as you can imagine, quite a lot of downtime, returning to base, landing, rearming, refueling, starting, climbing to altitude, and then looking for the battle. So let's make it short. How many players do you think were in this battle, and how many bots do you think there were per battle? The answer comes now, because in fact it was 4 versus 4, and then 4 bots per side. I'm not quite sure what Gaijin thought would come of this, but to be honest, they could have just deactivated, like in the past, the join in progress. I would not have cared, because there is so long time, right? But at the end, we also had iterations where, you had teams, and then it was clear that one side had the upper hand, and then players were just like, I'm not wasting hours of my playtime to then get a reduced reward for my efforts. I'm joining a new battle. And then you were constantly joining in battles where, you're about to lose, or where it was clear that people are going out of the match. And in fact, in this battle as well, it happened to be that 3 players left on the enemy team after like 40 minutes, and the first player left after 5 minutes on my team. Maybe it was a misclick, maybe it was a disconnect, whatever. But a matter of a fact is, the player numbers got significantly reduced early on. And that is a fail. I think that this is awful. And it just drops so much of the potential. But therefore you could see AIR RB, or the Enduring Confrontation Smolensk game mode, that you hopefully can still enjoy for a few hours if everything is going according to plan. And this video will be released on Sunday, where it's recorded on Saturday. Then you can still enjoy it for a few hours. So while I'm enjoying here a little bit of dogfighting and just dodging by default an LA5, what is the potential that I see in this? Well, let's go back a few years. Yeah, Uncle Napalm is telling his war stories again. So we had several iterations of Enduring Confrontation, and I tried to play as many as possible. But what always was the case is that I remember this one scene. Again, it was, unsurprisingly, Germans versus, this time, Americans and British. And for a change, I decided to pick the bomber, the German bomber. And in fact, I convinced a lot of players to make a bomber formation. And also even more people to simply form a fighter screen. To make a long story short, we actually managed to get in there, climb to altitude to be safe from the flak, and then also the fighters made a beautiful, beautiful screening or protection screen, if you will, somewhere close by, somewhere a few kilometers ahead, and somewhere a few kilometers above us to, intercept those enemies coming in at altitude. And in fact, we were attacked by Allied planes, and they were successfully repelled. Yes, we had some losses here and there, but at the end, we actually managed to go through, bomb the enemy airfield, and gained a significant visible points advantage. And it was so cool. And this tactical gameplay on a player level of 20, not even mandatory 30 players per team, but 20 per side, is so amazing. And again, that this is not the case just shows how much AIR RB is neglected, how much it could do, how awesome it would be if this and that would be fulfilled and polished and reworked. But it's just not the case. Oh well, I guess I made a video about this. In fact, on the 14th May of 2016, if I haven't told you about it already, I released the first Duck Talks, explicitly talking about the changes and the hopefully incoming changes, or what I think should be polished. So, what are the downsides? The downsides are the following. You have small teams. There is little to do for you. And playing bombers, let's be honest, that is rather boring. And then there is also the grinding factor. So when you get in there, you probably want to spade your aircraft. You wanna also grind some credits and RP. But it's not really effective at doing this. In fact, I had only 2 deaths, but 15 kills. But amongst those 15 kills, it got devalued quite a lot because there were a lot of bots amongst them. Well, it just happened to be the case that one problem was I didn't even get 70,000 silver lines for that, for over 1 hour of playing. First of all, it was a loss, that's always the risk, but also the rewards are just simply bad. So playing simply some aircraft in the normal RB queue is just significantly more rewarding, especially if you take boosters into consideration, which just last for like half an hour. And then there is also the timer that really was the most frustrating thing ever because it's always there. When it gets shot down, there is a timer of 25 minutes up until you can reuse the plane. And if it would be that one plane, that would be already annoying, but understandable. Gaijin, in their infinite wisdom, have actually implemented a system where it locks an entire fighter lane. So in my specific case, where I used the Focke-Wulf 190 A5U12, I got shot down once. But then the normal Focke-Wulf 190 A5 was also locked for no reason whatsoever. The same would be the case with Heinkel 111s if you have 2 versions. And that absolutely tilts me. That is absolutely wrong. So those small and big issues are really a problem. And now we are in this duel. You probably have seen this guy before in the battle time. It's a happy puppy. What a funny name. And so I went into the fight with a severe altitude disadvantage, and the Focke-Wulf might be a great boom and zoomer, at best a decent energy fighter, but it's definitely not a turn fighter. I mean, yeah, you always can try to reverse the enemy, but then you just simply don't have the elevator authority to pitch up and actually get gun on target. And so I try here some defensive flying and to dodge this guy and hopefully bleed off his energy. And as you can see, he's playing it rather smart. And for brief split seconds, I actually get the gun on target. The plane actually overturns, rolls too much. I get a machine gun hit in there, but again I have to ditch down. I have to again accelerate to the ground. As long as you have altitude, you can play around with the energy, but you're always losing energy, so there is just a limited amount of maneuvers that you can pull off. And so again I try to pull him down, and again I dodge him with ease. Again the plane rolls way too much, and for a brief second I just thought I would have to pitch into another direction, and again, as you can see, I'm stalling. But so is he as well. So I thought to myself, well, I need to make here a difference, and he is now running away. He has the altitude and the energy advantage and the speed advantage, but I'm in such a position that I can put a little bit of pressure on him, and then we get the lucky hit in, and he is on fire. And then this was a very nice fight. I already congratulate him, but what is that? What is that on the radar? Oh no, oh no. He's pretty close, and it looks like the fire has extinguished. Ah, that is bad, that is bad. Oh no, oh no, 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 no. This is where I really had a little bit of a brown alert moment. But gladly the fire has actually killed so much of his performance off, and now he has popped smoke, so yeah, I think that's it. Put some bullets right into him. Come on. The wingtip is gone, and so he goes down. Just finishing the kill for good measure. And that was a beautiful duel. Was it the best duel ever? No. Was it just, top tier with a stock jet versus a full up tier and killing 3 enemies with 1 servo? No. But this was what I really enjoyed. And so I hope that Gaijin just simply takes over certain aspects of this game mode and improves them, because it is really mandatory that we keep this awesome game mode. It is promising for years now, and it's a potential winner. But Gaijin not really putting that much effort into it as they could is a real shame. And with having said this, that's it for me today. So thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a like with it, subscribe if you want to see more. Let me know in the comment section what you think about Enduring Confrontation, AIR RB in particular. And we'll see each other on the battlefields, on the waves, and in the skies of War Thunder.